guys, today I am kind of following up that highlighting video that I posted a couple weeks back with a video that's all about contouring, as promised, because they kind of go hand in hand. Contouring is adding a darker shade to areas of the face that you basically want to recede, or areas that you want to kind of like sculpt out, or like make the illusion that you've got cheekbones or hide a double chin. That's just the fact. Dark colors tend to make things recede, and it's a technique in makeup that's used often, and the whole idea behind it is that you never want to be able to look at someone and tell that they've done that. You know, you want to look at someone and tell that, oh, that person looks very put together, and you can tell someone's wearing makeup a lot of the time, but you don't want to be able to say, oh, I can tell she's used a contour, or oh, I can obviously tell that she's highlighted her face. It doesn't mean using a super light hand or not applying much or not getting a good effect from it. It just means applying it in the right way. So that's what I'm going to show you. Contouring especially, I think, is even trickier because you're using darker shades, and the last thing that you want is for your face to look streaky or muddy, or that maybe, you know, if you apply it the wrong way, it looks like you haven't blended your foundation or something like that. But the most widely used contouring technique is sculpting cheekbones. Now, my face is fairly angular. I don't feel like I need to contour every day, and I don't. You don't have to specifically do that every day. If you have a very round face and it bothers you, or you want it to look like you have more cheekbones, or you just wanted to create more definition with your face, which is basically all contouring is, I would recommend that for like a more round face. Now, my very favorite product that I like to use, and this is going to look very familiar, is the Bone Beige Sculpt Powder by MAC, and this is it right here. This is the emphasized highlighting shade that I showed last time, and this is a shape powder. The Sculpt powders are the contouring shades, and the shape powders are the highlighting shades, and MAC sells them individually. This was just a limited edition thing that they did a while back, and I like to use this for myself because when they came out, I bought a million of them. Now, what you want to do is you want to make sure that it doesn't have a frost to it. Some people think they can use their bronzer as a contour. Yes, you can use your bronzer if it's not heavily frosted, if it's not super, super shimmery. My very favorite contouring brush, I'm not even going to really recommend another type of brush that you, well, there is one more that I'll show. But no, I'm not even going to show that. But this is my favorite, and this will do the job the best, is an F05 type brush. This is by Sigma. Very dense, very small, so it can, you know, highlight certain areas, but it's not too small so that it won't leave like little streaks, you know what I mean? The shape is absolutely perfect for buffing the color in and blending, which is the most important thing with contour. So what I like to do, I'm going to show a couple other products as well. I get the brush into the product like that, and you can tap up a little on your hand. Start right up underneath the cheekbone. You can kind of feel for it with your brush. Start at the outer edge. You don't want to touch the brush right here, because then the most color is going to be here, and that's not good. You want the most color to be right here, and then just back and forth blend, and then you can start doing little bitty circular motions, but you want to stay within that hollow of your cheek. And if you don't have a hollow of your cheek, you're just creating one. So right up underneath the cheekbone. You want it to be subtle. You want it to look natural. You don't want people to look at you and be able to tell that you've applied a dark shade here, because then that would be awful. It looks like a shadow, and that's what you want. And hopefully you can tell. I can tell by looking at it. Like I said, if you could see that I applied this dark color and it looked like, oh, well, she's obviously done that, then I wouldn't have done a very good job at it. Do the other side. And when I contour, I kind of like, I've showed you this face before, I'm sure, like years ago when I did my contouring video. That was probably kind of outdated, but you like that for this side, because it shows the area that you need to contour, see? And then on this side, do the same thing, and you can see it shows up exactly where you need to go. So blend it out and make sure that it's really blended out. Now, if you want to slim your nose, if you have a very wide nose, if you've got a flatter nose on top and you want it to look more slim and streamlined, I showed how you can apply a highlight shade right to the middle so that that looks like it protrudes the most, but you can actually use your contour shade to slim your nose. So I'm going to get the product right on the edge of the brush, tap off just a little on your hand, and use this brush to go right down the side of your nose. You don't want to put so much right here on this flat of your nose, on the side, like on this bridge of your nose. You just want it to be right here where the curve kind of meets the top, and kind of go all the way down with it. And do it on the other side. And you can slim your nose with the contouring. Now, I don't do that every day because you've got to be super careful with contouring, and you really want to be able to make sure that you have time to take your time with it and blend it and do it right. And it's like, I feel kind of like if this was something I did every day, I'd probably get used to it, but I don't do it every day because it takes, you know, I just like to get in and out quick. And I'm going to show you what kind of can substitute for doing this when you're in a hurry. Now, if you have a double chin, I really don't ever do this because my jaw is pretty pronounced and I wouldn't want to really like shade under there because I don't have a double chin. When the light hits it, it's like, you know, lighter, and it's the same color as your skin or as your face. So what you'd want to do in that case is, if you had a double chin, take just a little bit of the product and then just lightly shade around the double chin area. And I don't do that like because I just don't feel like that's an issue with me. That's not something that I'd really want to do every day because you can't see it. You wouldn't be able to see it because that's like a shadow anyways. You're just creating a shadow because, like, look, mine naturally looks like there's a shadow under there and it doesn't look like I have a double chin. Well, if you did, you use this product to create a shadow. Now, you've got to be something else I use with contour, I'll take a little bit of it and I'll apply it kind of up my temples like that. And it can kind of slim out your face a little bit to make your forehead look smaller. Which I feel like I have a pretty small forehead, but I still do this anyways with bronzer or with something like this. Apply it right at your hairline. Put the most color right at your hairline and then blend it down towards your forehead. And then it looks like, it creates an illusion of a smaller forehead. Now, you've got to be so careful with this. Like I said, make sure that you blend the heck out of it. Don't apply too much product. Start with less and build up. Don't apply so much at once because it's harder to remove it than it is to add more. So that's my tips. If you have a lighter skin tone, you want to use a color that is fairly, you know, you want to use a tannish color, but something that's not super brown. You don't want to go too dark. If you have a darker skin tone, they make these in all shades. You can use a darker bronzer, a darker brownish blush, even used on darker skin tones. Darker colored eyeshadows work great, like a dark cool brown. Just depending on your skin tone works great. Now, a couple of other colors that I found that work on me that I like and would even work on darker skin tones is this pressed amber mineralized blush. I'm not sure if they still sell this one, but this one is great because it's a blush and you can use it as a blush, but it's a very, you know, it's a very brown shade. Equilibrium blush by MAC is also great. It's very brown. This would be ideal for slightly darker skin tones than mine because it's very pigmented. And my favorite though is the Laguna bronzer. Now when you look at Laguna, it looks like it has some shimmer on it, but when I swatch mine has absolutely no shimmer left on it because I have used it past that first layer of product. It looks like it has kind of a satiny finish, but no shimmer. And when I tell people that, I remember I said that in a video one time and everyone was like, Laguna is so shimmery. The first layer is shimmery, but you can see mine, no shimmer at all. Just kind of a satiny finish. Now what I do, say I had not applied any of this, this kind of can sub for a quick contoured effect. If I want to apply this as my bronzer, I use this brush. This is the F20 by Sigma, and I love this brush because it's kind of like, it's fluffy and good for bronzer, but it's kind of like a paddle shaped, so you can kind of be a little precise with it. It's funny to say about such a big brush, but I get the product in there, and I'm going to use it like a bronzer. Tap off a little on my hand, apply it to my cheeks like I'm applying bronzer, and then work it down a little bit, and then focus the most right there, just as you were contouring. But you want to keep it kind of toward this outer edge. Don't bring it in so far. I'm going to show you again. I put a little bit on the brush, put some on my cheeks like where I would apply bronzer, and then focus the rest right here. in the area right below the cheekbone. Don't go down too far because it can be kind of hard with this brush, but you can kind of feel and see that it's easy to do. Then, you know, I do the same thing on my hairline. And this would be great too for the area that you would kind of disguise a double chin. And I would say that too, I forgot to mention that, instead of using such a small brush for that area, which you can totally use this, you can actually get away with a brush this large to contour that area. Put my bangs back, I kind of liked that. So yeah, very simple. Contouring can be tricky because it's one of those things that if you don't get just right, it's gonna look crazy. I know that's bad to say, but follow my tips. It's not rocket science, it's not super hard to do. But once you practice with it a couple times and get it down, it'll be so simple. But I guess why I say it's tricky is because if it's done slightly wrong, or if you put on a too dark of a color, or you can tell that it's obvious where you did it, then problems can happen, and it is a very unflattering effect. So follow my tips and practice with it and you should be good to go. So I hope that y'all enjoyed this. Pair this with my tips for highlighting for a flawless look, and whoa. I'm so distracted by my hair. Pair it with my tips for highlighting for a flawless look on your face, and you can basically shape your face to anything that you want. So I hope that y'all enjoyed it, and I will talk to you very soon.